Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be testing out some new products that I got from BeautyCon, and yeah, some new products I got in BeautyCon and over the last few weeks, and I just want to try some new makeup. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to start off with, I'm going to be moisturizing my skin. And then I'm going to be taking my multivitamin eye cream from Drunk Elephant. Alright, so today's primer, I'm going to be taking the Dermablend Instagrip Jelly Primer. It's a 3-in-1 multitasking primer with up to 24-hour staying power, and it's a slip-free primer, and it acts as a 3-in-1 makeup gripping primer, instant moisturizer, and tightening mask. Alright, Dermablend. It's not a mattifying primer, but it's just going to be like that nice primer that fills in any fine lines, any texture, and creates a flawless base. If you wanted to get more of a matte look, then you're going to want to pair it with their powder. And so I also received their Dermablend translucent powder. And I've heard so many good things about this powder, so I'm super excited, and it was her last one and she gave it to me. This is what it looks like. It's like a clear consistency. It is feeling very, like, not very tight, but it is, you kind of feel that texture. It kind of reminds me of when I do like my masks at night. And I feel like, you know, it's starting to dry down. I don't think I've ever used a primer that is like jelly-like, so I am very, very interested to see how she works. One thing I will say is that it's sticky, and I like that when it comes to primers, because I don't like a primer that has too much slip, because I feel like once I either have to wait for it to dry down a long time, or it just doesn't hold well with my foundation. As I'm looking, it is moisturizing because I like this little nice glow that I'm getting. For today's foundation, I'm going to be using the Elcie Micro Silk foundation. And I'm applying this with my Sigma F83 brush. Alright, so the concealer that I'm going to use today is my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. Haven't used this in a while. And I am taking the shade Medium Peach. So what I'm going to do is let my concealer dry down a little bit so that it can be fuller coverage. And then once it dries down, we'll blend it out. So for my setting powder, I'm going to be taking my Dermablend Banana powder. I like the fact that it's not too yellow. You know how most banana powders are like an OD yellow? This is like a nice tint to it. Next, I'm going to be taking my Sephora Microsmooth powder, and I'm just going to bring some color back into my skin, because I did find that that powder kind of gave me a ghostly cast. Not anything too bad, but most of the time I get that when I use like a translucent powder. So this step just ensures that I bring some color back into my skin. So for my bronzer, I'm going to be taking my Buxom bronzer. And then I'm just going to spritz my face with a little bit of Fix Plus. For my blush, I'm going to be taking this new blush from Rimmel London. Super pretty blush. And it's very buildable. Alright, so while I was at BeautyCon, I stopped by the Deck of Scarlet table and I got a whole bunch of goodies that I'm going to be reviewing in another video. But one of the things I want to go in with, because it's going to be a really nice sunny day and I want my skin to be glowing, so I'm going to be taking the Deck of Scarlet Illuminating Glow Drops. You know, dab it on, and then I'm going to dab it. Alright, so on top of that, I'm going to be taking the new Sigma Chroma Glow Highlighting Palette. I'm going to be taking Bedazzle and Peaceful. And I'm just going to apply that right on top of that highlight. I'm going to finish off my brows off camera, and then I'll be back to give you guys my thoughts on the primer and the powder. So, be right back. Alright you guys, so this is the final look. Now let's get into my thoughts on these Dermablend products. So first things first, the primer. I really like this primer. It was interesting to me because it's a jelly based primer, and typically whenever I use like a primer, it's usually a moisturizing primer like cream, or yeah, most of the time it's cream. So this being jelly kind of consistency was very interesting to me. I like the tackiness of this primer. It gave tackiness, but it also gave like that moisturizing effect. So what they said this was a 3-in-1, I definitely attest to that. I definitely agree that it gave like that instant moisture, because my skin was just like glistening. Like, if I could, I would wear this as a moisturizer if it didn't have like that extra stickiness, but I can't. So Dermablend, I'm gonna need you to make a jelly moisturizer without the stickiness. Okay? Okay. And I like how my foundation held on to the primer. I like to think tackiness, like the stickiness of the primer, is gonna hold your foundation throughout the day. So now moving along to this powder. I'm still trying to figure out this powder. So if you guys know, if you're familiar with my channel, you guys know that I typically don't try a lot of different powders, because I feel like once you find like a powder that works really, really well, not in the interest of finding other powders, you know what I mean? Because testing out powders is like, you gotta be brave, because it's like you do your whole foundation, and if you end up using a powder that's not good, you just messed up and wasted a whole bunch of time. Like, don't nobody got time for that. But I've heard really, really good things about Dermablend's translucent powder, and I just, you know, wanted to try it, and it was free because I was at BeautyCon, so yeah. But anyways, so my thoughts on this powder. I do like the texture of the powder. It is very finely milled. It's very smooth. It applied nicely, but I do feel like I got like some texture right here that I wasn't expecting. Usually I don't get that when I'm using my other powders. So, and I don't know if it was because I needed to exfoliate or if it was something that I did. So I definitely am going to be keeping my eye out when I use this the next time, and just see like, okay, maybe I need to exfoliate before I use this primer. Maybe I could do something. Maybe I can change something. Maybe it was me. But, oh, and also the powder kind of gives like that cast, which isn't bad. I find that most translucent banana powders give that kind of white cast or whatever. So that's why it's very important that you go in with a colored powder and you buff that light powder away. I always go back in with either my Sephora Microsmooth or my MAC Studio Fix or my MAC Skin Finish to make sure that I'm bringing color back into my skin. So if you find that any powder that you use makes your skin look very ghostly or ashy, you want to make sure that you're going in with a colored powder afterwards. I'm not going to rule out this powder because it seems like it could be a hit, and I'm hearing that it's a really good powder. So I'm going to give it a try, and I'll check back in with you guys, you know, later on, maybe in another video or follow-up video, or maybe on my Insta story. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you guys decide to get this primer, or if you already have the primer or the powder, and let me know your thoughts, and we can chat in the description box, and we can chat in the comments section. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.